You haven't seen that you ranked the 7th the worst in the country in terms of making decisions?
You are the first to tell me this. And I think for me, I stress the quality of my decision making.
There have been 68 district judges confirmed in the 117th Congress. In terms of motions pending for more than 6 months, you ranked number 3. You all came on at the same time. You all had the same problems with COVID. You're the 3rd worst. You really think of all the other district judges in the 7th Circuit, you're the one that ought to be promoted based on this record?
Senator, this is something that I've discussed with my fellow judges. Many of us new judges from...
I thought you said you'd never looked at these statistics.
I haven't, these particular statistics I am not familiar with.
In a fiery Senate Judiciary Committee hearing, Senator John Kennedy goes head-to-head with a Biden judicial nominee, exposing what he calls one of the worst case-handling records in the nation. When the nominee tries to sidestep the facts, Kennedy brings the receipts, and what happens next leaves the room stunned. It all began when Senator Kennedy laid out a set of damning statistics. He confronted the nominee with this. She ranked 7th worst nationally for undecided motions, 125 pending, more than any other district judge in the entire 7th Circuit. Even more shocking, she was 3rd worst in the country for motions pending over 6 months. Kennedy asked plainly, why such an abysmal record? But the nominee claimed ignorance. Let's dive right in.
You are probably the least productive member of your district court, isn't that right?
Well, I have not considered myself in those terms, Senator.
Well, let me explain what I mean. You have 125 motions pending that you've declined to decide.
Well,
let me finish. That's more than any other district judge in the entire 7th Circuit. In fact, you rank 7th highest nationally, do you not?
I am not familiar with those statistics, Senator Kennedy.
You haven't looked?
I did look in preparation for this hearing, but I didn't compare myself to others.
You haven't seen that you ranked the 7th the worst in the country in terms of making decisions?
You are the first to tell me this. And I think for me, I stress the quality of my decision making. And as I explained, I came on, I was the first district judge to come on during this administration.
Yeah, but so were all the others. I mean, there have been 68 district judges confirmed in the 117th Congress. In terms of motions pending for more than 6 months, you ranked number 3. You all came on at the same time. You all had the same problems with COVID. You're the 3rd worst. You really think of all the other district judges in the 7th Circuit, you're the one that ought to be promoted based on this record?
Senator, this is something that I've discussed with my fellow judges. Many of us new judges from...
I thought you said you'd never looked at these statistics.
I haven't, these particular statistics I am not familiar with. But in terms of new judges, both from the current administration and the former administration, we are quite a collegial bunch, and oftentimes talk about the pressures of a new judge and the way reassignments work in our district, which is that you get, for example, 300 cases.
Yes, ma'am, I understand. I'm familiar with the procedure in federal court. Here's what I'm trying to understand. Why is your record so bad?
Well, I don't view it that way, Senator. When I look at the quality of my decision-making, the feedback that I get from parties,
of course parties are not going to criticize you. They want you to rule in their favor.
I understand, Senator Kennedy.
I mean, that's just the way it works. Help me understand why you have such an abysmal record in moving cases. I mean, it costs a lot of money to litigate. And people are paying lawyers, and time is money. And of all the district court judges in the Seventh Circuit, you're the worst in terms of moving cases. Why do you think you deserve to be promoted over all of those others?
So, Senator, again, I'm not familiar with the statistics, but I stand by my record in that I give parties what they need. I think, I am regularly in my courtroom. I am regularly issuing decisions. I just came on at a very difficult time where there was a backlog in the courts.
So did everybody else.
In the end, Senator Kennedy didn't just ask tough questions, he revealed uncomfortable truths. While the nominee tried to deflect, dismiss, and downplay her record, Kennedy held the line, armed with data, court statistics, and her own signed brief. She claimed she wasn't responsible for a brief she signed. She claimed she didn't know the content of arguments she submitted to a court. She couldn't define the very weapons she asked to have banned. And worst of all, she insisted her record, one of the slowest in the nation, was nothing to be concerned about. But Kennedy didn't let political correctness get in the way of accountability. He reminded everyone watching that being a federal judge isn't just about credentials, it's about competence, clarity, and courage. And when it came down to it, the facts stood on Kennedy's side. This wasn't just a confrontation, it was a takedown rooted in evidence, not emotion. Once again, Senator John Kennedy proved why he's one of the most fearless and sharpest minds in the Senate judiciary. If Americans want judges who uphold the law, not political agendas, they should be grateful Senator Kennedy is asking the hard questions others won't. Senator Kennedy didn't just challenge this nominee. He exposed the gulf between rhetoric and reality, from being the least productive judge in her circuit, to signing a controversial brief she now disowns, to avoiding every direct question with lawyerly deflection. This wasn't just a hearing, it was a lesson in how facts can cut through spin, and how some nominees are simply unfit to rise higher. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more epic Capitol Hill confrontations and truth you won't get anywhere else.